This is my final review of the Motorola Razr 2024. I got 8 categories for you. Each one I'm going to rate them from 1 to 5. By the end of the video, I'm going to give you one final grade. Without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into it. First category I have is cool factor and design. Give this phone a 4 out of 5. Overall, it is the novelty factor. You're getting a phone that folds in half. So it's a flipping smartphone. That part of it, all nice, very cool. So I find that with flipping phone in general, it is so annoying to have to open it every single time you use it. I know that's the point of flipping phone. The idea of it is nice, but it's not practical. When you want to use it, you have to pry it open, and it gets annoying to do every single time. I prefer just a regular standard slap phone when I can just pick it up and start using it without the extra step. So that's just with all flipping phone in general. But with the Razr 2024, this year you get a bigger screen compared to last year. But if you want an even bigger screen, then you gotta get the Plus. With the regular model, there's a little bezel at the top. I don't really notice it. It doesn't bother me. Flipping phone in general, they are more fragile compared to a regular slap phone. It is not dust resistant. When I had the Razr Plus 2024 and I brought it to the beach, I got some sand in it, and then it ended up breaking the screen due to the small sand particle that got in, and I ended up having the black spot of death. So definitely a lot of downside compared to a regular slap phone. And when my wife was using the Galaxy Z Flip 5 last year, her phone actually broke as well, and we needed to get that repaired. She didn't drop it or anything. It just broke over time on its own without any sand or anything else getting in. So I'm still don't really like the design of flipping phone, not to mention the crease is still there. It's not as noticeable as prior years, but this is the downside of all flipping phones. The crease is not that nice to look at. Your eyes do adapt, but if you show your phone to someone for the first time and they see it, they're going to notice the crease right away and ask about it. So yeah, after all the novelty factor wears off, it basically just functions as a normal phone. And before jumping to the next category, just want to give a quick shout out to my partner Mint Mobile. Currently they offer a 5G plan for as low as $15 a month. You do have to buy 3 months up front. You get access to unlimited data, talk, and text. Overall, it is a great deal, so make sure to check them out. Link in the description below. So battery life is the second category. Give this phone a 4 out of 5. It actually gives me a solid full 24 hours with battery, so I'm pretty happy with that. I don't mind charging my phone at night, but if it gets me through a whole day without any battery anxiety, I'm pretty pumped about that. The regular Galaxy S24 gives me a lot of battery anxiety, so I do have to charge it. Or the night before, if I don't have a chance to charge it, I know I would need to charge it throughout the day. But when I have the Motorola Razr, even if I don't charge it the night before, I can still make it through a full day. So that extra boost of confidence is really helpful. And the only reason why I give it a 4 out of 5 is because the OnePlus 12R, I get 36 hours. The iPhone 16 Plus, I get 48 hours. So there are much better phones out there just in terms of battery life. But just in terms of most normal everyday people, I think a full day is fine. Charging it before you go to bed is really not the end of the world. And this phone is great for that. You don't need to carry around a battery pack unless you are a super heavy user. I'm more of a light to moderate user, but it still lasts me a full 24 hours. Customization and features, I give this a 4 out of 5. I love that the outer display is really easy to customize compared to Samsung. Samsung, you have to download Good Lock, you got to download Golden Star, Multi-Star, whatever. So multiple apps, and you really have to do research to figure out how to use apps on the outer screen. Compared to Motorola Razr, all the apps is already built in the outer screen. Some of it's a little bit weird, like for example, Pokemon Trading Card game. You play the game on the outside, you open up the phone, it occasionally restart, and then you have to start over, then you end up losing the match. So that could be the game problem. Technically, the functionality is there. It's just it doesn't always work the way you think it should. And with the Razr 2024, it is missing always on display. Kind of odd. It's been a pretty standard feature across basically all Android phone. I don't know why Motorola don't have always on display. The Plus model does have always on display, but this one doesn't. And that's just one of my favorite go-to features of all phones in general. I can just glance at it without having to pick up my phone to look at notification. This phone doesn't have that, so it's slightly annoying from that standpoint. Camera, give this a 4 out of 5. In general, taking pictures is fine. There's really nothing I'm missing compared to Samsung or Apple or anything like that. I'm pretty happy with the photo quality. It's not the best in the world, it's not the worst in the world, but it does the job. I'm not trying to be the world's best photographer on this phone, but it is adequate. The only reason why I give it a 4 out of 5 is with flipping phones, you only get 2 cameras. So you get the main camera and the ultra wide camera. If you get any regular slap phone, you would typically get a third camera, like a telephoto camera, but this one you only get 2. And actually glad that they stuck with the ultra wide camera on the base model. for the Plus model, it has the telephoto instead, and they took away the ultra wide camera. So when I went on vacation with the Razr Plus 2024, I really missed the ultra wide angle camera. So the base model has it, the Plus doesn't, but the base model does not have always on display, but the Plus does. So small trade-off there. And one of the most annoying thing about Motorola phone is I cannot connect my mic to it to record, especially when doing video. I haven't tried audio, but if I'm making a video like this, I would prefer to just plug it in and do a video recording. Samsung phone, it just automatically works once I plug it in. Google Pixel, I have to go into a setting and turn it on. This one, I went into the settings and I could not find anything. I even did a quick Google search. It looks like other people are having issues with Motorola phone in general, not just specifically with the Razr flipping phones. So just keep that in mind. I know not a lot of people record videos with a mic like me, but for me, it would have been nice to do that, because I make review videos. I like to use the phone I'm using to actually record the video. In one of the earlier videos, I just end up using the original quality, the audio quality from the phone. So just something to keep in mind if you plan to connect extra mics into it and do external recording. None of my friends do it, but if you're into vlogging, making video using mics, it may not be the best choice. I think you can download another app, but I feel like at that point it's already too much work, and I'm just using my Galaxy S24 to record this video at this point, just for simplicity's sake. So updates, you only get 3 years of software updates. Samsung, you're getting 7 years. Samsung does cost more. A lot of manufacturers these days, they get at least 4 to 5 years on average. Motorola is slacking there. But I guess you can argue that flipping phones might not even last 3 years based on my experience so far. So maybe it's fine, but I still like to have the extra years of software support just in case. I plan to keep it for that long. And these days, smartphones are really not changing that much year to year. So longer software updates is always appreciated. And Motorola has always been on the weaker side just in terms of the length of software updates and also the timing. Next category I have is ease of use. Like I mentioned earlier, you have to open it up every single time. I give this a 3 out of 5. And it is a pretty long phone. It's close to 7 inches, so for one hand to use, it gets challenging. For me, I have a baby. I'm always carrying him with one hand. The other hand, I'm using my phone whenever I can. So it's very annoying to have to figure out how to open up the phone each time, whether I pry it open, whether I flick it open, or use my stomach to cradle it open. And even when I get it open, it's still really hard to reach all the corners of the phone. Just because it's so long, I have to slide it back and forth, and it's a lot of work and effort just to fidget around with it. Compared to a smaller phone like the S24 or the Pixel 9, you can just pick it up, use it, easier to navigate with one hand, don't have to figure out how to open it. And yeah, the idea of flipping phone is nice. I just don't like the extra steps, and that is like the biggest barrier for me. And I don't think the benefits of having a flipping phone really outweighs all the small cons and the compromises that you have to make. So performance, I give this a 5 out of 5. It is not the latest and greatest chip, but over the last 4 years, any Snapdragon chip, they work pretty fine. No lag, no stutter. I play games just fine. I go Twitter, YouTube. Under normal usage, you're not going crazy. I'm not gaming for 8 hours a day, doing heavy Genshin Impact or anything like that. So normal usage, this phone is more than enough, and can't really complain for the price. So speaking of price, last category I have is value. I get this phone a 4 out of 5. $700 is a great price for a flipping phone. When these phones first came out, they are anywhere from $1,300 to $1,200. Even now, the Plus model is $1,000. The Galaxy Flip 6 is $1,100. So at $700, you're basically getting everything that you're getting in those more expensive phones. And I think it's a better choice if you really want a flipping phone on a budget. And it's even better than last year because it has a bigger outer display. Last year you just have a small window to view like step counter or the clock, and that's basically it. This year you can use the clock and you can use the apps just like regular phone. So that's really appreciated there. I think flipping phones in general, they don't provide as much value as regular slot phone. There's a lot of compromises. It does not have dust resistant. It takes effort to open it up to use, and you have 2 cameras compared to 3 cameras in most cases, so you have to make a lot of sacrifices. The screen is more fragile. You gotta deal with the crease. So all those things taken into consideration, I find it hard to rank this a full 5 out of 5 for value, even though it is a great price. So overall, it looks and feels exactly like the Plus model. The bezel's a little bit bigger on the outside if you care about that. My eyes just adapt all the time, so that doesn't really bother me. But I do like the fact that it has an ultra wide camera, so it has a big benefit compared to the Plus model. It is missing always on display, so that is a bummer for me. I love always on display. It just makes it a little bit more challenging to use on top of having to open it every single time. $700 compared to $1,000, no brainer. And at the end of the day, flipping phone is still not for me because of all the reasons I mentioned earlier. Let me know if you guys are a fan of flipping phones or thinking about getting it, or you have any other thoughts, questions, concern. Please let me know in the comments below. Appreciate the time as always. And oh, I forgot to tally the grade up. So taking everything into consideration, I got a 31 out of 40, so 78%, a solid C, which I think is fine. It's a nice, it has good value just in terms of price for a flipping phone. It has a great battery, has a decent camera, so that's pretty much all you can ask for in terms of a good smartphone. It's just a matter if you want to deal with the flipping mechanism or not. Alright guys, appreciate the time as always. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.